Alright guys, welcome back to MMAUnhinged. Today we are joined by MMA lightweight Joe Giannetti. How's it going?
Going good. How you doing?
I'm doing good. How's the Twitch streaming going? Because we know you've recently got into that.
It's going good. It's just honestly, it's just me having fun with my buddies, and it's a good way to connect with everybody, especially everybody that likes playing games.
What games do you like to play?
My go-to lately has been Warzone. I've been crushing it with my buddies on there.
Yeah. UFC 4 just came out. That's a good segue into that. As UFC 4 just came out, and have you played it? Have you got any? Have you played it to see what it's like?
So I was actually creating my character, so that's what I just paused from doing.
Oh, I'm sorry to hold you back from that.
Oh, you're good. But the soundtrack's really good. I haven't actually played yet, but there's a lot of good stuff as far as like customization, like a lot of cool shorts, stuff you can do with your fighter. So I'm excited to like actually play it.
It's turned into a lot of like anime sort of thing now. It's turned into a lot like it's turned into like Israel Adesanya's world.
Yeah, I just one of the things you can do in your character is like for your weigh-ins, you can weigh in with like a Dragon Ball Z wig on. I was like, oh, I'm definitely unlocking that.
Yeah, it's got some really cool unlockables. You can even get Tyson Fury and Alfie Joshua.
Yep, I saw that.
No, but I don't know. That doesn't really make sense because Tyson Fury and Alfie Joshua, they can't really get them in the same game together. If they made a boxing game, all that the different politics and stuff, they wouldn't be able to get into the same game together. But somehow UFC done it.
I know the UFC always gets it done. It's the same. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, it also begs the question, like, is Tyson Fury going to do an MMA
Let's not think about
fight?
that. So we'll move on to your fight coming up, your LFA debut, and you're also headlining that show. Does that show that the LFA kind of believe in your talent and believe in you?
Yeah, man. I think that they know that me and Brant are just a really good matchup. I know Brant. I think has fought for them 2 or 3 times, and he's undefeated in their cage. So he's kind of like the hometown boy. Um, and I'm looking forward to just making my name over there and getting that win.
I say in your professional career, you've only fought in your professional career, you fought in two promotions, and that's the UFC and Cage Titans. So does it feel good to have like a new challenge and new surroundings, and possibly in a company that has more eyes on it?
Yeah, it's cool. It's not really like I don't look at it as a challenge going to another promotion. I just look at it it's like fun. It's just another adventure. I mean, I've never done it before, and then after the fight, I get to look back and I'll have a new pair of gloves to like put on a shelf that'll say LFA. It's just a new part of the journey.
So as we mentioned there, you're fighting at LFA 89. You're fighting Brant Moore that night. What are you kind of expecting from that night?
I think it's going to be a really tough fight. I mean, he's my age. I think he's might be like he's about to turn 26 or a similar age. He's on a 5-fight win streak, so he's going to be confident, and he's a strong, athletic kid. Um, I'm interested in testing my jiu-jitsu against him. I know he's a black belt. I'm only a purple belt, but in MMA, it's just different. I mean, not just him, but anybody that fights me, the only way to beat me is you got to be very inactive. You can't try to finish me because you can't finish me. I mean, these guys that I'll try and come out there and take my head off, I end up taking their neck. So I think that he's going to have a very solid game plan, and he's going to try and do what everybody else tries to do. He's going to try and just control me and try and grind me out, but it's not going to happen. And I'm going to be in there trying to fight. I'm going to be in there trying to take him out.
So LFA 89, August 28th, if I'm correct. So you're 14 days out. How do you feel?
I feel great. My weight's super low. Normally the Monday before a fight, I'm 170, so that's like 4 or 5 days before weigh-ins, and I'm 170 this morning. So I still have 2 more weeks to lose the rest of the weight, and I'm excited for the weight cut. I'm excited for the fight. I can't wait fight week.
So as we mentioned earlier, that your opponent is Brant Moore, and he's 7-1 in MMA, and he's competed as you mentioned there that he's competed in the LFA promotion twice. So do you think he's a tough opponent? Do you think he's going to bring a lot to the table?
Yeah, for sure. I think that like I said, he's one of their guys. Like he's an LFA guy, and I'm going into his territory to fight him. And I saw a preview video that LFA had posted that a win here could put us into title contention. And I mean, if I win this fight and I don't get a call from the UFC or the contender, then yeah, I want to fight for that LFA title. That's just another notch in my belt.
Is that a thing you'd be interested in after this fight, an LFA title shot?
Oh, definitely. I watched that LFA title fight for that exact reason because I knew I wanted to fight for LFA. I was already talking to them. I didn't have a name yet, but I watched that fight because I knew if I fight somebody, they're going to be one of their top guys. And if I beat them, I'm going to ask for that title shot.
So as you mentioned there in the contender series, we'll kind of recap that later because I've got a few questions regarding that. So your five out of his 7 wins, as you mentioned earlier, he's a black belt in jiu-jitsu. So 5 out of his 7 wins all come by submissions. Is that something that you prepared for in camp and you're going to expect from him that night?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like I said, it's one of those things where it's MMA jiu-jitsu, so it's a little different than regular Brazilian jiu-jitsu, which I know he's a black belt in. So I'm respecting his grappling. But even to this day, I think that my grappling doesn't get a lot of respect from my opponents. They think it's just, a bunch of tricks, one trick wonders. And I've spent a lot of time grappling. I have a lot of dedication to my grappling. I've never swayed from it. I'm like, that's my base. And my buddy Luis Pena, he actually cornered against Brandt in his only professional loss, so I kind of have some inside tips on that. And then my buddy Pete Shapiro actually fought Brandt when they were amateurs. And he beat Brandt. So I have some more inside advice. So, I think I'm just very well prepared and I got the right people around me.
So how's the fight camp been leading up to the fight?
It's been very, very good. Like I said, I've been training for this fight since the beginning of July, before I knew I had the fight. So the end of June came around. I was in pretty good shape, and then the fifth was my birthday, so I celebrated that weekend, and then I like really started dieting hard, and I've been training super hard before I got a name, before I spoke to LFA. So as soon as they told me, "Hey, we've got this guy," I was all for it. I'm like, I'm already in shape. Now I can just tune in on what I need to do in this fight.
So we'll throw back a few years when you were in Tough 27. What was the experience like in Tough 27 and the learning from incredible guys around you?
It was awesome, man. I mean, it was a game changer for my career in a whole. Like, I got new ways to cut weight and make it, and not just make weight, but be healthy and be able to perform the next day. I got new workout tips, new mobility stretches, new exercises. Just my whole career has changed from that. Even though I didn't get in the UFC from the finale, I gained so much experience that's helped me moving forward.
So as you mentioned there, did you say that you didn't gain too much out of the experience?
No, I gained a bunch. I
Oh,
didn't
you
get
did, yeah.
UFC from the finale, but I
Mhm.
gained a bunch of experience and a bunch of stuff that's helped me moving forward.
So if you don't mind me asking, what did you kind of learn from that experience, and what did you kind of, and most importantly, what did you kind of learn from your coach, Daniel Cormier, who's huge in MMA?
Honestly, just hard work. Like, I thought I worked hard, and then being around him, I realized that I wasn't even close to his level. So now it's like I have that standard. So when I'm training, I'm trying to work as hard as DC could be, even those guys.
So last year, if I'm correct, you went over to London. I think it was London where to fight Paddy Pimblett, but that fight didn't happen because you missed weight by a little bit of a margin. And what kind of happened to that fight? Why didn't it go through? Did he just didn't want to fight you because of the weight?
Yeah, man. He just didn't want to fight me, period. To be honest. And unfortunately, I gave him his reason to make it look good for why he didn't want the fight. So after the fight had officially been canceled, after Cage Warriors did whatever they could to make that fight happen, I still have the text. They said, "We're trying. Paddy does not want to fight." I bumped into Paddy, and he was like, "quote unquote, I would have fought you if you went back in the sauna, but you didn't, so we can't fight." The reason I didn't go back in the sauna after I missed is because prior to the weigh-ins, I was in the sauna for an hour. My last session, I was in there for 1 hour straight, and I didn't have a bead of sweat on me, zero sweat, which means there's nothing left in my body. And at that point, I'm just damaging myself, and not damaging myself for like the fight, but like for life, because after that comes kidney failure, all that stuff, and I'm not dying over a fight that I took last minute. So I got as light as I physically could. I showed up. I told the promoter, "Hey, I'm not on weight. I tried. I'm sorry." And he even said the weight wasn't the problem. The problem was that you didn't go back in the sauna. And to me, that was just like, you shouldn't even have said that. You should have just said it was because of the weight, and I would have been cool with that answer. But, I don't think he wants to fight me. He won't fight me on a full camp. And he keeps saying that I'm full of it, but he's proven my point by not signing the contract. He will not fight me on a full camp.
He put on a Twitter post the other week, and I think I tagged you in it. I don't know whether you've seen it.
What he put?
He put who would you guys like to see me fight next or something on Twitter, and I kind of tagged you in the comments.
Oh, was that you that tagged me? And he
That
started
was
trying. He
yeah.
was chirping me afterwards, and I was like, "Buddy, I got tagged. I'm not coming at you."
Yeah, so that was me. I kind of started that.
I thought that was funny because it was like, I was like, yeah, of course you'd like to see me fight him. I think at this point everybody wants to see me fight Paddy.
I just want it to be settled now.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, when everything happened, I said the same thing. It's just the disrespect that he showed me and the way he was talking to me. Like, I get it. I'd be pissed too. I missed weight. It is what it is. Like, it's my fault. But like, when you talk to somebody like that, like, you better be ready to fight. Like, the way he was talking to me and the disrespect he showed me. And all I said to him was like, dude, I took this fight on 10 days notice. I've lost almost 30 pounds to try and make the weight, and I'm off by a little bit. Like, cut me some slack. You can have my whole purse. I don't want any of my money. And like, to just come at me the way he did, I was like, all right, then let's fight. Like, you want to talk like this? Like, let's fight. Because, like, over here in America, you talk to somebody like that, you're fighting. You guys have to fight. And he didn't want to, and of course he didn't. So I mean, it is what it is. But I mean, he knows I'm down, and he's proven my point every day when he doesn't take the fight.
Is that a fight you still want?
100%. I've said it before. That'll be one of my easiest fights. He's very, very good, but stylistically, I destroy him in the first round. He's too small, he's too weak, and he's just not good enough.
So we'll move on to Dana White's Contender Series. You kind of mentioned that earlier. Hopefully you get a shot in your next fight. So that's back up and running now. Is that something you'd be interested in? Maybe getting a shot at Dana White Contender Series?
Yeah, that'd be cool. Like I said, it's kind of like the LFA thing. It's just another thing I haven't done yet. I've been at Cage Titans. I've been on the Ultimate Fighter. I've fought in the UFC. I went over to Cage Warriors, even though I didn't fight there. But like I've had that fight week experience. Now I'm gonna experience LFA, experiencing the Contender Series. Like it's just all cool to me. Like I said, I'm a fan of MMA. Like I'm a fighter, but I'm also a fan. So to go from watching all these things on TV to being a part of it, it's just really cool.
I'm trying to keep focus of like the U and the weigh-ins. I can see it in the top corner. No, Daniel Cormier or Stipe haven't weighed in yet, but O'Malley and Vieira, they've weighed in 136 even. So I'm trying to keep interest in that and interest in you. But my most focus is on you and the questions.
As long as everybody's on weight, it's all that matters.
At the moment, yeah, I think everyone's on weight.
Good.
Yeah. So lastly, actually, while we're on the subject, your tough coach Daniel Cormier will be fighting tomorrow for the heavyweight title against Stipe Miocic. How do you see that fight going?
I think it's going to be a lot like the second fight, as weird as it sounds, except, I think he's going to fix those mistakes he made and that he's admitted he made. He was winning the striking until that fourth round. And if he had wrestled just a little bit more, then I think he would have taken that W home. And I think that's exactly what's going to happen. I think a lot of people are confused the way he's talking. Like they think he's not going to strike at all. But I don't think that's the case. He's going to strike just like he did in the first fight, just like he did in the second fight. But he's also going to wrestle more, and he's going to make those wrestling exchanges, the things that Stipe is not ready for. As much wrestling as he's done to get ready for DC, he can't catch up to the years of wrestling DC has. So those little exchanges Stipe is not ready for, that's going to be the major difference.
Do you think DC is going to use his strikes to get in close, and you go for a single, maybe even a slam? Maybe like we saw it in the second fight. Was it the second fight where he picked him up and dropped him on his back?
It was like that. It's like the single leg, and then he steps in, he picks you up over your shoulder. Yeah, definitely, man. Especially something that was talked about before the fight was like official that I feel like has disappeared. Is they're fighting at the apex. They're fighting in the small cage. Like there's not that much room. So
doesn't give much room for Stipe to circle out.
Yeah, and like I fought in so there's like 3 cage sizes. I fought in the smallest one on Tough, in the medium one for the finale. I've never fought in the big one, but I've been inside of them before. So like that's a huge difference. You go from like 30 feet to like a 20-foot cage or 25-foot cage. Like especially for heavyweights, that's a lot of room to lose.
It kind of plays on Daniel Cormier because he wants him to get in close. He wants it to be short range. Stipe wants to be long range, uses distance, uses jab, uses crosses. So he kind of wants to be in short range. So it kind of favors Daniel Cormier in this situation. But I'm a big Stipe fan. I've got a lot of t-shirts in the closet in my wardrobe. So hopefully it goes this night tomorrow night.
Yeah, man, it's going to be a good fight. I think that the only way that Stipe can really keep DC outside trying to be long is he's got to throw a little bit more power on all of his shots. I mean, if you're not throwing
fast.
Yeah, he's got to start fast and he's going to throw some power shots. If he doesn't, DC's just going to walk through and grab him.
I think we're going to see a lot of that tomorrow night. Yeah, because DC's a lot of hands up and blocking your shots. He's using his hands quite a lot when he fights. He's using your hands to grab your hands, and he just puts it over the top of your guard. So we're going to see a lot of that tomorrow night. Usually, what DC does. So I feel like that's going to happen most of the fight. But he's going to wrestle more, and I think it will definitely go 5 rounds. I think they've had 1 stoppage each, and I think it will go to decision tomorrow night.
Yeah, it's going to be a crazy fight. I mean, I don't know how it's going to end. But I think if DC makes those adjustments, he takes it. It's going to be a crazy fight. I'm going to be stressed out watching it.
What about the co-main event while we're here? Sean O'Malley versus Chito Vera.
So, I don't hate O'Malley. I like him and I love watching him fight. It's just sometimes watching the shit he says outside of the cage, I'm like, whatever, buddy. But he can fight, man. And I also love watching Chito Vera fight. But I think whether you like or hate O'Malley, you got to respect his brains, like his fight IQ. And one of the things he said really interested me. They asked, what is Chito good at? He said he's good at getting punched in the face. And like that sounds like a bunch of shit talk, but he's right. Like Chito will take one to land one where O'Malley will land one and get out of the way. And if he keeps landing and Cheeto doesn't counter, it's going to be a quick night for Cheeto. So I think O'Malley's probably going to take that one. But Cheeto's never been finished. So if gun to my head, I'd probably say O'Malley. But I'd like to see Cheeto get the win.
Well, thank you very much for your time, and thank you very much for joining me. Now you can go back to creating your UFC 4 character and actually play the game.
Definitely. Until I get in the game, I'll make my own.
Thank you very much, and hopefully you win the fight on August 28th.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Appreciate your time. Thank you very much.